Hey guys, hola from Porto in Portugal. So today we're going to visit Coffee Roasters with our friends SHAUN and ZASKIA.
Hello!
Hey!
Welcome to Road to Coffee. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos. Coffee Roasters have quite a few branches in Porto and Lisbon, but we decided to visit their main shop in the heart of Porto. Our route will start at McDonald's Imperial, located quite close to the Iron Bridge and São Bento train station. From here we will follow along the blue route, which is quite an easy route to follow, but it is mostly uphill, as most things are in Portugal. So let's get going! So why start at McDonald's is probably what you're wondering. Well, this McDonald's has been described as the most beautiful in the world because of the original Art Deco stained glass and an eagle emblem that dates back to the 1930s that was part of the former Imperial Cafe. Okay guys, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm ZASKIA.
And I'm SHAUN.
And we are from South Africa and we are in Portugal visiting friends, and we're planning on traveling through Europe after our visit.
It honestly sounds like such an amazing adventure, starting in Portugal and then traveling through the rest of Europe. So what are your thoughts of Porto so far?
We really enjoyed Porto. What stood out for me is just like walking around. There's something around every corner. There's so many things to do. We went for a chocolate and wine tasting, and that was a lot of fun. And we drank obviously lots of coffee, and it was just really nice to see all the shops with the different things that they have to offer. And like they always have these nice cute things that you don't really see everywhere else. Like they have a lot of, I guess you could say, art made out of cork, and it's just really interesting to see what people are doing with that.
Yeah, I must say, even for the gifts that you can find in South Africa in the gift stores, it's completely different and unique, and I think that was also something nice, that we could find something in the stores to also bring home for souvenirs.
Yeah, so that was really nice to see. But just in general, I think Porto is it's such a nice place where you can really make a whole day out of it, just walking around and looking at all the shops.
Yeah, I think the other part that I really enjoyed is you could go to Porto every day and you always find something new to do, and you can explore the streets. It's quite a maze of places that you can visit, and each street looks completely different. And if you enjoy architecture, I mean, there's also great elements for that as well, for picturesque moments that you can capture. I think one of the other points that really stood out for me is the historic elements from not that I can remember correctly, but how the name Porto originated, seeing those little boats where the wines used to be transported into Porto from. I think there's a lot of these small elements, and I think you can really enjoy a long holiday there and not even need to see the rest of Portugal.
And something else that was also really pretty in the streets of Porto was seeing all the art and the murals that people have painted in the streets, and that's really amazing to see. You can always look at pictures and things, but it doesn't really bring it to life like it does just being there in person.
It's like high quality graffiti.
What do you think of the coffee culture in Portugal, and how is it different to South Africa?
The coffee culture in Portugal is different to South Africa. I mean, in Portugal, I think a lot of the coffee shops that we found was essentially a pastry shop where you can get a pastry and a shot of espresso as a standard.
Yeah, I absolutely love a Portuguese bica or a Portuguese espresso, and even though it's really strong, it pairs so well with pastries because it balances that sweetness with the bitterness of the coffee, and it just really comes together so well. But it is different to South Africa.
I do think that the espresso is like a rite of passage, and it's like a bucket list moment. You just got to do it and you have to have that experience. But coming from South Africa, where we're used to it, we were always on the lookout for a nice flat white.
I think the other interesting element for me around the coffee shops and the pastry shops is the fact of having the little serviette to hold your pastries. I think that's something we're not used to in South Africa. In South Africa, we'll just use our hands.
We were not allowed to touch the pastries in Portugal with our hands.
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's this like little serviette and everyone uses it to like pick up and eat their pastry. Of course, sometimes I still pick up the pastry with my hand, and it's just part of what I'm used to coming from South Africa. Before we arrive at our destination, I want to express my opinion about so coffee roasters. Their ethos is to humanize coffee, which I admire. Coffee is so much more than just a beverage. There is actually a story behind it, and they share these stories with their customers, like where the coffee comes from and the farm and the producers. They educate through their stories. Not only does the coffee shop offer a place to relax and enjoy a hot or cold drink and maybe some snacks, there is also a co-working space and a really good vibe. At this point, I was laughing at how ZASKIA's facial expressions changed so suddenly. What were your thoughts in this moment?
I've never really heard Michael and Chantal full on speak Portuguese before, so I was just standing there like amazed at how they can speak this language and how they've adapted to their life in Portugal. And it was just like a really nice moment, even though you don't necessarily see that on my face.
Zaskia's got a unique thing of showing her emotions on her face, and I think this is one of those moments where I think we were speaking in English and then all of a sudden they started to speak in Portuguese.
Yeah, and I think at this point I just zoned out and I'm just like so focused on what they're saying, but I can't actually understand what they're saying.
Thanks, Saskia, but my Portuguese is still a work in progress. At least coffee is a universal language. We ordered their switch coffee, which is basically a filter type coffee, and chose beans from Mexico. It tasted incredible. I would highly recommend this experience to everyone. And yeah, what did you guys think?
I think when you find these small bespoke coffee shops that actually focus on making a well-brewed cup of coffee, you can actually taste it. A lot of coffee places that we've tried before, you can taste when the bean that's been roasted is very flat and doesn't have a full body of flavor. And I mean, from the flat white to the coffee experience that you shared with Chantal, it was really good coffee, and I can see that there's dedication to how the coffee is being brewed.
And that's a coffee cheers from us. Until next time, até já!